What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back to Touchdown Kingdom, the home of all the latest NFL news and content. We just did a ranking of the top 5 quarterbacks in this year's draft, and now it's time for the wide receiver position. One of the biggest changes in today's game is the importance of a true wide receiver one. In the last few years, teams have found receivers that are game changers through the draft. The likes of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Garrett Wilson are just a few that change the landscape of the way teams view that position. While I don't think this wide receiver class is nearly as deep as previous draft classes, this group isn't one that should be slept on. There's a lot of good talent, and they're going to make some teams very, very happy. Here are the top 5 wide receivers in the 2023 NFL Draft. 5 isn't a big number, so I want to give a few honorable mentions for some talented players that are just outside of the top 5. Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, and Tyler Scott are all players I like, but aren't in this top 5. The 5th best receiver in this class is Jordan Addison from USC. Addison is a strange prospect for me. His production wasn't really there last season, at least compared to his 2021 season. In terms of the intangibles, Addison is only 5'11", and his speed doesn't really pop on film. However, once the ball is in his hands, his quickness makes up for whatever speed is lacking. He has trouble catching passes through contact, and he also had trouble catching passes that weren't right in his hands. Neatly put, he's good at separating, but gets bodied by defenders everywhere else. I think a good fit for Addison would be the New England Patriots, though. They run a dink and dunk offense that would allow Addison to just have the ball in his hands and work from there. There's no doubt he's got the talent, but the question will be whether or not he can adapt to catching passes through contact, which will be infinitely more difficult at the NFL level. At number 4, I have North Carolina wide receiver Josh Downs. This is a phrase you'll hear me say a lot in this video, but Downs is a slot receiver that plays loose and has some really great athleticism. His last 2 years at UNC, he was incredibly productive, posting back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons and 19 touchdowns altogether. He has a really smooth change of direction, which makes it difficult to guard him in man coverage. At 5'9", his small stature makes him pretty much non-existent when it comes to run blocking, but he's going to be an asset somewhere. I think a really good fit for Downs would be in Buffalo. The Bills just lost their slot receiver in Isaiah McKenzie, so Downs would jump right into that role. Plus, his development will be sped up because of the high-level quarterback play with Josh Allen. Downs will be a solid player for whichever team selects him. At number 3, I have Quentin Johnston out of TCU. I'm not as high as some people are with Johnson, considering some have him as the best in this class, but he is real good. His talent was truly highlighted by TCU's playoff run last season, but he will be sought after by many teams. He's the only true outside receiver at the top of this class, and he has all the intangibles that make for a great NFL receiver. His speed and quickness allow him to separate, and him being 6'3" makes Johnson an asset on the outside. The biggest concern with Johnson is going up and grabbing those contested catches. I think he's a true project. Johnson would be a good fit with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need someone to complement George Pickens as he enters the role of wide receiver one for the team, and Johnson's vertical ability would do just that. The athleticism and talent are there, but he's going to have to adapt his game as he moves to the NFL level. At number 2, I have Zay Flowers out of Boston College. Flowers is another pure slot receiver, standing at only 5'9", but he's going to make a team very happy. He's fast and maintains that speed through his route and while he changes direction. There were concerns about his strength, but all of those concerns disappeared with Flowers putting on some weight during the offseason. He looks to be in great shape and be much more built than he was during last season. Not only can he separate, but when he has the ball, he is as slippery as any top NFL receiver. He had over 1,000 yards last season with not great quarterback play, but drops are a concern, with Flowers having 9 last year. A good spot for Flowers would be with the Packers. He would be a good player to give to Jordan Love to support him the most, and Flowers would fit right in with the youth of that receiver room. He'll be able to get open, and Love will be able to put the ball in his hands quickly. Flowers is a top prospect in this draft, receiver or not, and he will and should undoubtedly be a first-round pick. The best receiver in this draft class is Jaxon Smith-Njigba from Ohio State. JSN is coming from a school that has been producing top-end receivers like a factory the last couple years. He will most likely be viewed as simply a slot receiver, but he's more than capable of being that and more for whoever takes him. The biggest concern is his speed. He didn't run the 40, and his injuries are a concern as well, but I'm looking past that. His slot potential while standing at 6'1" and having tough hands to make contested catches makes him a top prospect. He's another guy who's just quick. He's quick enough to make up for any lost speed. He plays tough through the middle, which is one of the biggest issues that slot receivers have when jumping from college to the NFL level. He'll need to fine-tune his route running, but Jaxon Smith-Njigba is the best receiver in this class and will most likely be the first receiver off the board on draft night, as he should be. Those are the top 5 wide receivers in the 2023 NFL Draft. Is there anybody I left off on the list? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to Touchdown Kingdom if you're new here. We appreciate all the support, and we'll see you next time.